Okay, so today we are going to be going over how we can make and use lore books in SillyTavern. I'm super excited to dive into this because lore books are extremely powerful, but somewhat underdocumented, so it's nice to be going over them. And first, to make a lore book, we're going to want to come over here to World Info. And then from here, we can either create a new world book or pick a world book that we already have to edit. Like Eldoria should already be on your SillyTavern. It comes with the default. But let's make a new lore book for this Evan character. And we're just going to call it Evan Book. And we're going to make a few entries for it. So I'm going to click right here on the plus icon to make an entry. And let's make an entry for his hometown. And you'll notice this title and this title, they don't really matter for how the lore book functions. That's just for you as you are organizing it. Pick stuff that you will recognize and remember. Then you can click here to start actually defining the entry. The two most important pieces is content, which is what will be sent to the AI, and primary keywords, which is what in conversation will trigger the content to be sent to the AI. So here we have hometown, New York, childhood. All of these things will trigger the content, which we define as whatever we want, but it has to be something that we can send individually to the AI and it will know what to bring up in the conversation. So remember, it doesn't have the word hometown, so we're kind of providing information that relates to hometown. And keywords, of course, become extremely important, and you're probably going to want to put more than this because that's what will trigger this to show up in your conversation. And as you're organizing them, I kind of like this fancy mode, which if we click on it, it closes everything. But when we reopen it, we now have the tags much nicer formatted. And we can add things like birthplace and just hit enter. And now we have a new tag. So that's pretty convenient. But now that we have this set up, let's see how we attach the lore book to Evan. You would come over here, and we're at Evan already. And you can either shift click here and add it there, or we can do the same thing but come down here and click link to world info in this little tab and we'll come to the same panel. So let's come over here to Evan book, and now he'll have the information about his hometown linked to him directly, and we no longer need to be activating it per chat. And on the other hand, if we want to add additional lore books, because you can put as many lore books as you want, we can add this down here. However, only this lore book will be attached to his icon. So if we export the character, the primary lore book will go, these will not. And I want to point out, you don't always have to link it to the character. You can also come up here and select an active world, but I recommend linking them to the characters because that'll give you a lot more control over what information gets passed to what character. Now, let's take a couple more looks at the features within World Info. And first off, we want to go into here, where it says click to expand, and see a few important features. These features are actually important enough that I brought them over here so that we can take a look at them carefully one at a time. So first, let's take a look at scan depth. And scan depth is going to control how far back in the conversation we're scanning for keywords. So like how many messages are we looking at? And if you set this to 0, it's just going to be your author's note, which if you're not familiar with the author's note, it's like an additional little piece of text you can attach to your conversation. It's going to be constant though, so I would recommend not using 0 here, even if you are using an author's note. You're going to want to scan a few messages at least. And default is 2. If you put 1 here, 1 message, 2 is 2 messages. So it's pretty straightforward. Just how many messages are you looking at? And one thing I would recommend, if you're in a group chat, you might want to set a little bit higher of a number here, just because of the way messages work in group chat. Sometimes important information can get pushed a little further back. So next we have context percent. And this is the maximum percent of our context window that will be dedicated to lore books. So it's like controlling how much of the information that the LLM is getting sent is lore books. So let's do an example because that'll make it easier. Let's assume our context is 8,192 tokens. And we've covered context before in previous videos, but basically, if you're not familiar with that, it's just like how much information are you passing to the LLM for it to work with. Then let's suppose we set context percent 25, so a quarter of that number is 2048. And 25% here is the default context percent. And 2048 is plenty for lore books, unless if you're putting a lot of entries or maybe your conversations are going a little bit longer. So just take it with a grain of salt, play around with it. Just make sure that you don't set it too high if you have a lot of lore book entries, because if all of your messages are lore books, it's not going to have any conversation to work with. And one thing that is important also to know is sometimes you just don't want a lot of information. Like suppose you just started a conversation and you have maybe 1,000 tokens of conversation, and then you have a huge context window and you're pushing like 8,000 tokens of lore books. It's going to behave a little bit strangely. But you can also control this with budget cap. So budget cap is what you're going to use in case if you move to like a much bigger version and the context percent now represents a much higher percentage of tokens, so a much higher number of tokens, I should say. And what this is going to do is if you leave it at 0, it's just going to directly use your context percent. 0 is basically infinity for budget cap. But if you set it to a number, then SillyTavern is going to look at either your budget cap or the context percent, and it's going to select which one is the lower number. So it's kind of just a way of putting a limit, like, hey, even if I'm using a giant context window, I don't want more than 3,000 tokens or something like that. Whatever number you choose. And then next we have min activations, and this one's pretty fun. What it does is it will disregard scan depth until a set amount of lorebook entries have been triggered. So basically, what's happening here is it will scan 2 at scan depth, and then it'll go to whatever number of min activations. So suppose we have 5, or let's say a lower number even. Let's say we have 3 min activations, and scan depth triggers 4 activations. We're still going to get those 4 activations. But if we don't get any activations in the scan depth, min activations is going to keep scanning backwards through our conversation until we have reached the desired number of activations, or until, of course, it runs out of conversation. And also note, it's still limited by budget cap. So if you exceed your budget cap and you have less than min activations, it's going to respect the budget cap more than min activations. But sometimes if you're in a really long conversation, you might not want it to scan back through the entire conversation. So you can limit that with max depth. So that's just limiting how far back the min activations will scan. And once again, 0 is unlimited. So if we set it to 0, min activations can scan the entire conversation. If we set it to a number, then we will be limiting min activations to whatever number we put here. And that number is going to operate exactly like scan depth. So really, for it to do anything, you want it to be a higher number than whatever you have set for scan depth. And then finally, we have max recursion steps. And this is going to limit how deep our recursion goes. And I'm actually going to go back into SillyTavern really quick in a second to show you guys what recursion means. But basically this means that it's looking at entries within entries of your SillyTavern lore books. So important to note, 0 is not active. So if you have it set to 0, you can pretty much ignore this feature. But if you set it to a number, then it's going to activate max recursion, and it's going to be recursing all of our lorebook entries that get activated. However, note as well, this is incompatible with minimum activations. So if you have max recursion steps, min activations doesn't work. I can't tell you exactly why that is. All I know is it's in the documentation. They do not play nicely together. And personally, I really like min activations. But it's up to you. And min activations will still do some recursion as it's scanning. So it's not that you won't have recursion. It's just this is another way to handle recursion. So let's get back into SillyTavern and take a look at what recursion actually is. So now back in SillyTavern, we're going to look at the lore books we have attached to this Lyra character. And we actually have two lore books attached to her, Eldria Lyra and Eldria World. So we're going to take a couple of looks at those. First, let's look at how recursion is working within Eldria Lyra. We have here this Mages Guild, and it has information about what the Mages Guild is, but what I want to call your attention to is these three here. Alchemy Tower, Arcane Tower, and Enchanted Tower. Because these words just appear in there and we have entries for each of those with that as a keyword, this entry, when it's called, is going to trigger these entries. So from this one, we're going to have 3 more entries being triggered. And these entries, if they had information that triggered something else, for example, if we had an entry for potion or something, then that would cause more triggers. So we could have multiple layers to the recursion, which is of course what we would be limiting with max recursion steps, or limiting just the minimum activations, how far is it recursing, with minimum activations. So that's a very cool feature in SillyTavern because we can get more information. We don't necessarily need to try to put everything in one entry. It will automatically recurse across entries, giving the player and the AI all the information they need to have good answers and messages in their conversations. And I want to point out one other really cool thing about recursion. Here we have Emberleaf Draught, which is including the word Emberleaf, honeyed sap, and all of this stuff. And if we go to the other lore book, which we have attached to Lyra, we see an entry for Emberleaf, and that entry will be triggered by her other lore book. It doesn't only work across one lore book, it'll recurse across all the lore books attached to a character. Same for this honey sap tree. We have honey sap, so this one would be triggered. So not only will she know about the potion, she will know about the plants which make the potion, of course contingent upon min activations and recursion steps, as well as our budget cap. Can it actually send all that information? So that's important to keep in mind when you're working with lore books. And then I want to call your attention to one other type of lore book I made for this character, which is actually a user, which we can attach lore books to a user right here, and then we can select any lore book. So in this lore book, which is Eldria Victor, I have only one entry, and I put appearance, and physical appearance is the trigger for this entry, and it's just a physical description. And why I put this is because if we are using image generation and we ask it to describe us, it has the word physical appearance. So even this prompt from image prompt templates, that's how you would find it, would cause that entry to be triggered, and then we can inject the character's description, or I should say persona's description, only when it's needed in the conversation. So that's a very cool tool to use so you're not wasting tokens every chat describing a character. Only do it when you need it. And I would double check to make sure that, the prompt includes whatever you use as a trigger, or you could even add an additional trigger at the end that's just like a funky combination of letters that you can use to trigger whatever entries you have up in your lore books for appearance. So that's a fun tool to use. And then that's about all we have for lore books, but I want to touch on one final thing that's very important. You may be wondering, do I really need to dive into lore books? Like, if you're not particularly interested in SillyTavern, maybe you're trying to move on to other AIs, is this going to factor into other AIs you're making? Lore books is a SillyTavern specific topic. And the answer is actually yes. The major difference, however, is that other AIs tend to use something called RAG, which is vector storage. And right here we have the strategy. We can actually convert it to vector storage this way. And what that's going to do is it's no longer going to trigger based on the exact keywords. Instead, it's going to trigger based on similarity scores, which is an experimental feature in SillyTavern, but it's how most AIs work with this type of topic and data. Just including data in a conversation, they're going to use vector stores. And if you want to be really wild and start experimenting with vector storage directly, you can come over here to extensions, click vector storage, and then click enable for world info. And if you click that right there, it's gonna, well, you also have to click here, and that will vectorize all of your world storage and start using that as, conversational data. So you can start playing with vector storage in that way. It's up to you. I would, however, recommend using a standard lore book first and then start moving into vectorization when you're looking to start moving into other AIs. So I really hope that's helpful for you guys, that you guys start understanding lore books a little better, you're able to work with them. Please let me know if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions. I also would love to learn more about lore books myself, and how are you guys using them? And also if I missed anything. And with that, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.